Hello everyone, this is Clossi, and today we'll be looking at a game that is a 10Q versus 11Q, and the question is, how did they lose their position even though they had such a strong and solid and really big position, but they still ended up losing? So we're going to figure out why that is. And also, this video is sponsored by SumegoDragon.com. If you want to do Go puzzles, that is a great way to do it. And for this week only, we will be doing a code for Go Congress. It's Congress 24, which gives you 50% off your first month. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive right into this game. We are reviewing for black. Okay, lots of 3/4s, so lots of territory. Okay, this is a little bit awkward for white, and black got a lot of nice territory for it. So I want to say so far so good. It's interesting. This definitely feels like the first instinct, but white gets a lot of territory in the corner. This one is actually quite a bad shape. Typically you want to double Hane this. The idea being is they don't have the liberties to really do much to you because of these two stones having low liberties or lifelines. So as long as these two stones only have like 3 liberties, they are too weak to actually attack you. If they were too strong, if you don't like the double Hane, then you actually want to connect right here. This way, you can now do whatever follow-up you want to do. Now, my concern here is that this top left corner is very large for white. So it's a little questionable if I want this to happen or not. So for this, I may have actually exchanged once here first. Here it gets really tricky because this is a very large point. So maybe if I'm wondering if I go here and they go here and I go here, I think it's okay. And if they go here, I go here and just make life. I think it should still be okay. I know also the AI really likes to play this move against this shape. So maybe we could consider that since we have the Shamai right here, maybe we can consider that first before playing on the left. It's very interesting, lots of interesting ideas. I'm a little bit nervous about giving this large of a corner, but it may be okay. So the big key here actually is you want to avoid this sort of 2-2-2-2-2-2-2-2-2 shape. And that's because it has a lot of cutting points that can get you in a lot of trouble. So playing a stretch or a Nobi from a Hane is very dangerous. Typically, you want to connect for safety and strength, or if you want to bully white, you could do the double Hane and just recognize that white has low liberties. It's a little difficult to follow up, but may be possible. Absolutely turn right here. Very, very large move. Very large move. Let's check the ladder. Looks like we're good. I don't think anything got into Atari, so I would say since we have the ladder, our cutting point is okay, so we have time to do this. Shoulder hit here is a good way to make shape quickly, but since we're already out, I don't know how necessary it is. Okay. Still really want this turn. And then after that, I think we can get up here and build this top side. Not a bad move. I'm a little concerned that you left the left side floating a little bit because white can still come in right here and make this group have no foundation or no base. So that means this group will be floating in the air. So until we actually get this block, black doesn't have a foundation yet. So we got to keep an eye on that. Okay, okay, all perfectly fine. This cut is okay. So make sure you're checking these. These are very important. I'm not sure if we need to go up, but maybe it's fine. We are developing a very large top side. Well, we don't have the ladder anymore because now we get put into Atari. So definitely can't do that. So now we have to do this. Looks like we're still okay. Still okay for one more move. White can go here to squeeze us, but I think it's okay. Yeah, should be still okay, so we'll see how it goes. This is a little risky and unnecessary. We have a very large position, and we're not going to get very far into the top left, but we have a cutting point right here. And now we have a cutting point right here. And if we try to go out, this is now threatening our cutting point there, and now we're getting into trouble everywhere. Everything is like poking these cutting points. There's a lot of cutting points around the board, and now they're getting activated. I think rather than that, maybe just extend up because we have a cutting point. So as long as we keep only one problem, we have a response to the problem. And then we are still building that top right position. Oh, I played a bit passively here. This is just overplay. This is just not good. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways to be cut. So this is just not good. White can literally just walk through. And this is kind of a definition of a broken shape, where our opponent just walks right through our stones. So very bad shape. So absolutely just connect. Everything's solid, everything's fine, it's fixed. It's good, it's a strong position. Yeah, definitely overplay. Okay, so I did actually have a sneak peek at this game. I looked at this to make sure it was going to be good for a video. This is where we start seeing the really big issue with Black's game. So, let's imagine for a second. Just this. Okay, I'm just putting some stones on the board. Okay, here's what the board looks like if we imagine it with no cutting points. If we imagine this whole thing is connected and strong, this is massive. Oh my gosh, China's Great Wall would be jealous of this thing. This is a massive wall. However, if we look how it goes in the game, just play out a few moves. We actually could get in a lot of trouble here, and if I recall correctly, these 3 stones also get in a lot of trouble. There's actually a few problems here. So White actually didn't punish this properly. Because these 2 stones have 2 liberties, this is not a net. This stone can just walk out, so you didn't actually net this stone. Secondly, thanks to this Atari, now these 3 stones only have 2 liberties, and this is the sequence that we were thinking about before, but what if I go here to sacrifice those? That will lower the liberties of these 4 stones in order to let me squeeze it. So now I'm able to get around these 4 stones a little bit better. It may not be the best strategy, but giving your opponent all these options to play around with lets them come up with a very interesting plan. So I think the big key here is you played a net and then it's not a net. It just doesn't make sense to play a net there because it's not a net. So just capture the stones that can be captured. Trap the cutting stones that you can actually trap. Here, White tries to take advantage of it and doesn't quite pull it off. I think another way to play would be here, because this is starting to look at these 3 stones. If we try to fix, boop, that happens. So I think this would be quite nice because Black has to fix, and then when we're trying to fix here, I can get another forcing move against these 4 stones. So now my shape is looking really good. And now I'm actually surrounding you, and you're the one who's in trouble. You're actually in a lot of trouble here, all because I got 1 and 5. And that is because I was able to bully these 4 stones. So I think that is one of the big issues here. Now here, White didn't quite count the liberties properly, so White got in a little bit of trouble. It's still possible though, because if I go here and you try to cut me, I can still pull out these 4 stones and cut you back. And then I can net you. So it's still quite possible to play here. And this is all because Black is not capturing the cutting stones properly. Black is not watching their liberties. So lots of things go wrong here, or could go wrong here if White pulled out the cutting stones properly. However, here we see that black is actually able to net both cutting stones. And now everything's connected. So this is amazing for black. Super strong, super solid position for black. And this is all because white lost all their cutting stones. But if white had pulled out the cutting stones, black could have been in a lot of trouble. Here we're getting into that same thing. This is very common among double-digit cues, where we get into this 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Every single one of these has cut, 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 cut. Okay, you don't want to do that. There's a very common DDK mistake, very common lower level mistake. And that is because you refuse to connect your stones together. Instead of playing this way, just extend. Fourth line territory is quite good. This wall cancels out this wall. So like this wall of white cannot do anything because this massive wall by black is just saying, no, you're not getting anything here. So you can get fourth line territory pretty happily. So when you play this way, this is getting very dangerous because we have 3 cutting points. Looks like white doesn't attack it immediately. This move doesn't feel super good timing, but it's fine. We're connecting stuff. Here, there's another cutting point because knight's moves have cutting points. If you're strong, this is fine, but if you're not, then all you've done is create another cutting point. So now there's 4 cutting points. The more cutting points you have, the more chances for white to make some cool tactic happen. So I think here the answer would be just to fix your cutting point and try to stay around your opponent. I think that's perfectly fine. I couldn't even do that. Yeah. I think this is perfectly fine. This is good enough. You just win the game this way. If you just stay strong, watch your cutting points. Black definitely has the bigger position. If we're comparing this to this has to be bigger. So I don't care about that right now. I want to fix my cutting points and build my position and make it massive. Okay, here let's check the cutting point. Dot, dot, dot. There. There. So that's still okay. And if white goes right here, it's still okay. So everything's still okay so far. Okay. Everything's still okay. We're not cuttable. And here's another cutting point. Okay, we got to be careful with these Hane moves because the Hane has a cutting point, and 1 cutting point is possible to play. It's not super dangerous. We just have to be cautious with it. But when we get 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 cutting points, then we're asking to die. We're asking to lose the entire position. Here, we are not respecting that we're in white's side of the board. We're in white's position. We need to respect that white controls this area and not have a cutting point. Instead, if we just simply reduce and reduce and reduce, and these cutting points, I can't even like play that way. I have to play here. And we respect our cutting points. We respect that this is white's position. We can actually reduce it quite a bit and limit its potential and then come back and fix our position. But here you get in trouble. And then immediately sacrifice this down. Okay, so this is something that's a little bit of a red flag. If you review your games and you say, I'm playing a move, and then you immediately give up the move, then you're not thinking your moves through from the first move. Like you're just clicking stones on the board. You're not actually thinking. Because if you go right here and then get punished and then immediately give it up, that means you didn't even consider your opponent punishing you. So this is a big red flag. If you see this in your reviews, it means you are not actually thinking your moves through before you play. It means you're just playing and practically blitzing. Very, very bad habit. Okay, I played this move for a second too, but then I remembered all these cutting points. So okay, now there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cutting points on this position. So that's a problem. Also, we ignored a cut right here. This stone is in a little bit of trouble, but I think you're still okay for now. but still, we're leaving cutting points everywhere. So make sure that you have a plan for each one of these. Every single cutting point needs to have a response. Okay, we try to cut. I think we cut without thinking. This is white's area. We need to be respectful that white controls the area and should have the advantage in the fight. So we need to be cautious with our plans and patient. Okay, we were able to reduce quite a bit. We still have a lot of cutting points. But I want to say, if you just fix this, you win. I don't see black having less points here. Okay, so I think this is what they meant by like, they're in a strong position, but they ended up losing the game. Like they have a huge position, and it looks like they do, right? It looks like they have a really big position. But if these cutting points activate, then we're going to get in a lot of trouble. Okay, we're trying to punish white's cutting points, but this is, again, I think this is the same thing. We're just looking right here and right here. We're not even reading two moves. White simply connects or whatever. You go white bamboos. Like, what is the follow-up? How could we do anything here? There's too many white stones. Make sure that you don't waste all these cutting points, because sometimes you'll be able to make an advantage when your opponent overextends. So save these. These could be co-threats. These could activate when something else is happening. You don't know, but if they don't work on this turn, then don't waste the Aji right now. A little bit unnecessary. I think just fix the cutting points. If your opponent comes in, you can attack it from the second line if there's no escape route. If there's nowhere to go, then attack it from the second line should give you a pretty nice advantage. But okay, I understand it's difficult to deal with invasions of areas this large. Okay, here's a cutting point. And now we lose track of these liberties. Yeah, I remember seeing this when I looked at this in advance. You have to connect. I'm sure you're worried about this, but the response is to jump or to attach, and it should be okay. Yeah, this is because you got too many things to juggle. And at this level, which is 10Q, it's really difficult to juggle this many cutting points all at the same time. If it was just one, like you saw that you could handle one cutting point because you knew the ladder existed. But when you had 3 or 4 cutting points, you started to lose track and you forgot about something. And this is why we leave your opponent's Aji laying around. If nothing works right now, leave it for later, because a lot of times they will struggle to keep track of it. And now we lose the entire position. And this is all because a single cutting point went wrong. This is usually the leading cause of resignations in Q games, is losing track of your cutting points. And you're also leaving so many laying around. If you want the chicken move, this is the chicken move. This fixes everything, and now you can focus on dealing with the evasion. Just fixes everything. This is still has 5 cutting points, so it still could very easily go wrong. Okay, so white invades. Again, the way you deal with this when there's no escape routes is attack it from the second line. I think the safe way is probably... this should be fine. This should be fine. I want to say there's no issue here yet. At least not for one more move, because I think right now white does not have the liberties to cut yet. I understand it looks a little bit confusing, but that's also because you left so many cutting points that you have to read very accurately. But okay, you try to surround. This is a typical middle game strategy, so I don't really hate it. It is a little soft, I think, but it's fine. We don't need the entire area to win. Oh, actually, we might now because we died over here. So now we might need the entire area. Okay, white extends, yep. And here, I think if you recognize there's no escape route, then you just go here to reduce the ice base, go here to stay strong, and then you just have to read the cutting points, or maybe you just fix right here. Actually, sorry, fix right here is easier. And then if they run away, it's okay. It's okay if they run away. There's nowhere to go. They have nowhere to go. Okay, double Hane. And this is, again, we're playing a shape where Hane headed 2 and then double Hane to punish the low liberties, like on the left side. However, this is completely different, and that is because there's a cut right here and a cut right here. So white can start balancing these to make some sort of combination to make a local tactic. Tactics are found at 3 liberties or less and cutting points. So you got to be very cautious with all this. You have to be very accurate with your reading if you're going to leave this many cutting points laying around. I think here, The safe play is probably just to fix stuff. I think if we just fix everything and make sure that we're alive everywhere, it should be possible to play. But now we get in over our heads, and we're in a lot of trouble. This is a very bad exchange. This doesn't help your cutting points at all. It doesn't reduce white's eye space. And right now, if white cuts right here, we have 2 liberties. Now, black is still dead, unfortunately, but we did not help it by going here because now we have 1 liberty. We can't even go down anymore, so we lose a little bit of the Aji there, a little bit of the weaknesses there. Here, black missed the chance, and this is a chance to punish white's cutting point. If we go right here, and then right here, and right here, 1, 2, 3 to 1, 2, 3, so white will actually die here. So we actually missed the chance to punish our opponent's cutting points. And this is going to be cut problems along with squeeze problems. And maybe a little bit of capture race if you're not in practice of counting liberties, then capture race problems. You can do all of these at semigodragon.com, but the idea here is you are not checking the cutting points at all. You're not checking yours, you're not checking your opponent's. So it doesn't matter how good you are at the rest of the game if in all the fights you just immediately lose because of the cutting points. Here you're trying to kill. This is completely optimistic. There's no way. You have white has instant life right here. White has an eye right here. I don't see how this could possibly turn into a false eye. And even if it does, there's no point because there's no way white can die right here. So this is just not reading again. I think this is desperation or denial. One of those two. This is bad end game. I think it's just game over. No, it's not. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Okay, so at this point, if it's not game over, then I just want to start fixing my stuff. Fix my cutting points, make sure I'm alive everywhere, and then go play a strong ending game. But just adding to your dead stones is not the way to go. Sure. A little bit, it's not nothing, but a little bit too soon, maybe. No, actually, it's Sente. Okay, if it's Sente. Because if I go here, you go here. I didn't recognize that white couldn't connect right here. Okay, yeah, that's fine then. That's fine. Okay. Not big enough. We want to just block. E18, F18 is also really big. Both of these are really big. Hard to say. I'd have to count them both to compare. White's checking the cutting points. Perfectly fine for white. Good endgame trick. Go here, and black has to block, and we still have the initiative. But if we go here and black blocks, and we have a cutting point and have to fix, we lose the initiative. So no B is better than Hane. This is silly. Just go here. But okay. Another cool trick. Always connect unless you have a secondary purpose. This is because this move has 2 co-threats. There's no reason to give those co-threats unless you need eyes. If you need eyes, the tiger's mouth is much better. But if you don't, there's no reason to give these potential threats to your opponent. Okay, so I think that's going to be enough for... Oh, the white got tricked. Oh, I get tricked. Okay, so white is worried about the double Atari, right? It's double Atari, but white can just take those, so there's actually no problem. Black wasted a move. Both players made this mistake. That's kind of so funny. I want to say we can recognize what the big mistake is. Oh, wow. We made another one. Yeah, okay. So I think black's brain is scrambled now. Yep, definitely scrambled. Definitely scrambled. It is it's not even a co. Oh my gosh. Yeah, unfortunately, black just got screwed here. Okay, so this is again cutting points. I think another response is to go here. Even that's not good enough, but you can still. No, because I can just cut immediately. I can't even squeeze it. Okay, what if I go here? There's no co, right? Okay, yeah. Then I can just go here like that. Okay. I was worried there might be some sort of co situation, but there's not. It's fine. So the big key this denial. The big key this game is going to be the cutting points. So I want you guys to understand how big of a difference it is. Remember these go threats? But well, black's gonna die, but you gotta think about this. The big key difference is the cutting points. Black had a massive position. And yeah, there are segment line things we can learn on the right side, but the majority of the mistakes, like over here, all right here, all of these were from cutting points. And that is because you're just leaving them laying around. How could you have a strong position or play with the position if it's cuttable everywhere? You have low liberties, there's combinations to destroy your shape. If you are leaving all of these cutting points laying around, then it's very easy for your position to just blow up in your face. Now, once you master like strong positions, that'll lower the amount of resignations you have, but it'll be then time to add on punishing your opponent because white also had a couple opportunities. I believe there was one down here and one over here, if I recall correctly, uh, of which they left cutting points that you could have punished, if I recall correctly. But it's not just you, but also your opponent that is missing these cutting points. So if you're fixing yours and playing a strong, solid game, and you can find these opportunities, you can actually make your opponent resign as well. And then if neither player is leaving the cutting points, you had the advantage because your big moves are just better. So even though your big moves are better and maybe your opening's better or whatever, it doesn't really matter because your cutting points are like 2 ranks or 3 ranks below whites. And those are the ones that came up in this game. So if these cutting points come up, then your game just self-destructs. So if you fix these cutting points, then the rest of the game actually would have went in your favor. All right, we'll leave it at that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. And remember that we are running a special this week. Go Congress 20, or not Go Congress 24 for 50% off your first month on SmagoDragon.com. For this week only to celebrate the American Go Association's Go Congress. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.